Welcome to Cosmic Eternity Channel. Let's begin in a different way today. Imagine stripping away every title, every achievement, every applause you've ever received. What would be left if the noise of recognition fell silent? That quiet version of you, the one who keeps going when no one's watching, that's where God's love rests. His affection isn't tied to the trophies on your shelf or the compliments people give when you succeed. His gaze doesn't linger on medals or milestones. What touches his heart is something deeper, something invisible to most eyes. God's love for you was never a transaction. It isn't a reward for performance or perfection. It's a response to the way you keep trying, to the courage that pushes you forward even when you're tired. He sees the moments you whisper hope into the dark, not because you want more to own, but because your heart longs to bring peace, to ease burdens, to keep life steady for those around you. Even when your efforts seemed fruitless, heaven noticed. Those small acts of persistence, those unseen prayers and quiet steps of faith rose like fragrance before God. They became offerings more sacred than any grand success. And that is why his affection for you is steady, unwavering, and beyond measure. God doesn't fix his eyes on your results. He studies the posture of your heart as you walk through life. To him, character holds more worth than any outer victory. It's the reflection of who you truly are when no one's applauding, when the lights are off and the world turns away. Character rarely draws attention. It hides in the little things, returning what isn't yours, choosing kindness instead of anger, keeping a promise when no one would know if you didn't. These acts don't make headlines, yet they form a life that heaven calls beautiful. Think about it. Real character isn't built on appearance, but on endurance. A clay jar may be cracked from the fire, yet if it still holds water, it has worth. You are that vessel. You've been through heat intense enough to break you, but you still carry compassion, empathy, and grace inside. That is what God values, not the shine, but the strength within. Your character wasn't shaped in comfort. It was forged in silence, injustice, and long waiting. In those barren seasons, you chose integrity. You kept weaving threads of honesty and faith through each passing day, and those choices became the architecture of your spirit. God cherishes your character because it mirrors his own. He is the one who gives even when forgotten, who remains steadfast when everything falls apart. And when he looks at you, he recognizes himself in the way you endure. Not because you never failed, but because every time you stumbled, you rose again and walked toward the light. You may have thought you were just surviving, but heaven saw something magnificent. Each quiet decision, each unseen act of faith became a monument of trust in God. Through you, mercy keeps flowing. You've become a channel of peace, a resting place for grace. Character isn't measured by flawlessness, but by resilience, by the strength to rise when life whispers quit. Picture a lantern flickering in the wind. Its oil is nearly gone. The storm grows stronger, yet the flame refuses to die. That's your soul, steady, glowing, unyielding. And God doesn't pity that light. He takes pride in it. He knows the cost behind your endurance, the sleepless nights, the silent tears, the losses you carried quietly. Still, you never betrayed your essence. You bent, but did not break. You yielded, but did not lose yourself. That is why heaven calls you precious. Your character is alive, authentic, enduring. It isn't a mask, it's the structure of your being, tested and true. You've built it patiently, brick by brick, day after day, often without realizing heaven was watching. Every decision became a foundation stone. Every moment of self-restraint was another wall raised in the unseen temple of your life. To human eyes, it looked like ordinary days. To divine eyes, it was sacred construction. And now, your character carries a signature written in patience, kindness, forgiveness. Every gentle word, every act of mercy, every choice to love has left an imprint that heaven recognizes as yours. God loves you not only for who you are in the light, but for who you remained in the dark. The silent forgiveness, the quiet faith, the calm amidst the storm, these are the melodies heaven hears from you. They weren't random actions, they were the architecture of your spirit. God treasures them because they reveal spiritual depth, and it is upon that depth that He is now building your next chapter, a future shaped by the strength of your heart and the purity of your endurance. In my view, this message speaks to something profoundly real about what it means to live with purpose and faith. I believe that true worth isn't defined by what we achieve, but by who we become in the process. The world often celebrates results, success, recognition, influence, but God looks beyond all of that. He values the quiet strength that carries us through failure, the integrity that holds when no one is watching, and the compassion that survives even after disappointment. For me, this idea is both comforting and challenging. It reminds me that my struggles, my perseverance, and even my silent moments of faith are not meaningless. Every small act of honesty or kindness, every decision to stand firm in what's right, contributes to the shaping of my soul. I've come to understand that character isn't built in moments of victory, but in times of pressure, where faith and endurance are tested. I truly believe that God's love isn't conditional on my performance. It's anchored in who I am becoming through every experience. The idea that heaven values the unseen parts of my journey gives me peace. It teaches me to stop comparing my path to others and to focus instead on cultivating a heart that remains steadfast, humble, and genuine. In the end, I think that's what life with faith is really about, not chasing perfection, but allowing grace to refine us until our inner strength reflects the heart of God Himself. When I say that God cherishes your character, I'm not offering a comforting phrase, I'm speaking of a spiritual reality. He sees the unseen framework of your life, and He knows it's strong enough to carry greater purposes. That's why He's already widening your horizons, setting the stage for what comes next. When God loves something, He doesn't leave it as it is, He multiplies it. His love is not passive, it's creative, expansive, and active. His affection for your integrity is now calling forth new doors to open, new alliances to form, and invisible shields to surround you. Just as a healthy seed draws the rain, a steady heart attracts divine favor. Heaven doesn't pour into barren soil, it waters where life is thriving. And within you, there is life in abundance. People might not have noticed your endurance, but God did not as a prize for perfection, but as a reward for the strength you nurtured through your hardest days. In the realm of the divine, character is not only admired, it is trusted. And whatever God trusts, He enlarges. The integrity you've built in silence is now becoming the foundation of a legacy that will outlive you. Your children, your community, even souls you will never meet, will feel the echoes of your choices. The very traits that once made you feel like you didn't belong are now becoming the pillars of your divine purpose. Your patience, your calm spirit, your compassion, none of it was weakness. They were the quiet qualities of a true leader. Not the kind that commands attention, but the kind that transforms environments in silence, like a river carving stone. That is how your character is working now, reshaping inner and outer landscapes, bringing light where there was once hardness. And that is why heaven holds you in such esteem. Awards fade, titles end, but character continues to evolve, even in the unseen corners of life. This inner strength may not make your path easier, but it makes you capable of carrying far more than before. When God recognizes that you are ready, He increases the weight you carry, not as punishment, but as promotion. The new pressure you feel is a sign of greater capacity. What rests upon you now is different. Even silence has meaning. Every pause, every still moment bears witness to how much you've grown. There's something sacred in that truth. Your character has become your armor. Honesty guards you against deception. Mercy frees you from bitterness. Humility shields you from pride. You haven't just shaped your character is now shaping you. It's become a spiritual field of strength surrounding your steps, keeping you upright even when the winds rise. And remember, this strength isn't fleeting. It doesn't depend on luck, mood, or circumstance. It's permanent because it was forged through repeated acts of truth and faithfulness. My dear friend, you stand on the threshold of transformation. The unseen has already begun to shift. What once felt like effort will soon become momentum. What once seemed resistance will turn into speed. Your character is no longer about survival. It has become an instrument of divine movement on earth. You are a lamp the wind cannot extinguish, a tree no storm can uproot, a melody that chaos cannot silence. What stayed alive within you during your darkest trials is now the cornerstone of a new season, and no one can take that from you, not today, not ever. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If these words resonated in your heart, share them with someone who needs them too. Like, subscribe, and continue forward. The next message prepared for you is already waiting. I'll see you there. From my spiritual perspective, this message feels like a reminder of how sacred the process of growth truly is. I've come to understand that God doesn't measure us by speed or success, but by depth, by the strength of what we've built within. The trials that once seemed unfair were actually the chisels shaping my foundation. Each struggle became a lesson in endurance, each silence a moment of divine preparation. To me, the beauty of this truth is that real strength is never loud. It's born quietly through faith, honesty, and consistency. What I once saw as delay was actually protection. What I once called loss was transformation. And now, I see that my character, shaped by both pain and grace, has become the vessel through which God moves. This realization fills me with peace. I no longer see challenges as punishment, but as proof that heaven trusts me with more. My journey is not about reaching the top, but about becoming someone whose spirit reflects divine steadiness. And that, to me, is the highest form of success, to live in such a way that even in silence, God's presence can be felt through who I am becoming.